Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English in Advance. I'm Jessica, and it's truly wonderful to have you here with me today. If this is your first time joining our community, we are dedicated to helping you move beyond the basics of English and achieve your highest fluency goals. We regularly share lessons designed to make your learning journey smoother, faster, and much more enjoyable. In today's special masterclass, we are going to dive deep, very deep, into the skills that transform your English from good to great. This isn't just a listening exercise. It is a full, immersive practice session. Together, we will expand your vocabulary with powerful new words. We will refine your sentence structures so they flow naturally. And we will practice the kind of advanced B1 or B2 level English that will make you a truly confident and articulate communicator. Today's lesson is all about building a rich and flexible vocabulary, the kind that allows you to express yourself with precision and color in any situation. We will explore expressions, phrases, and sentence patterns that advanced speakers use instinctively, without even having to think about them, whether you are enjoying a casual conversation with friends, composing a professional email for work, or explaining a complex idea in a presentation. Having a strong advanced vocabulary is the essential key that unlocks genuine fluency and self-assurance. By the end of our time together today, you won't just understand how to use this advanced language in different contexts. You will have practiced it with me, step by step, so that it becomes a permanent part of your own speaking style. Before we begin this exciting journey, please make sure you subscribe to our channel, English in Advance, and tap that little bell icon right next to it. That way, you'll get a notification every time we release a new lesson, and you'll never miss an opportunity to improve your English with me. So, find a comfortable spot, relax, and if you have a pen and paper handy, you might want to jot down some of the wonderful words and phrases we'll practice together. Let's begin our journey toward fluency. When we talk about reaching an advanced level in English, it's about so much more than just memorizing a long list of difficult words from a dictionary. The real skill lies in understanding how to use those words naturally, in the right context, and with complete confidence. For instance, think about the difference between saying, "I am very tired," and saying, "I am completely exhausted." Both sentences convey the same basic meaning, but the second one, "I am completely exhausted," feels stronger, more descriptive, and far more natural for a proficient speaker. It paints a clearer picture. As we go through our lesson today, I encourage you to shadow me. Shadowing is a powerful technique where you simply repeat what I say, slowly and clearly, right after I say it. This method is incredibly effective because it helps you internalize the rhythm, the pronunciation, and the natural usage of these advanced phrases. It trains not just your mind, but also the muscles in your mouth to produce English sounds correctly. So, let's try it together right now. First, the simple sentence. Repeat after me. I am very tired. Good. Now, let's try the advanced version. Repeat after me. I am completely exhausted. Excellent. Can you feel the difference? The word exhausted carries so much more weight and paints a much clearer picture of your physical state. At an advanced level, small but powerful changes like this one make your English sound richer, more precise, and much more expressive. Let's look at another example that we use all the time. Instead of saying, "The movie was very good," which is perfectly fine but a little plain, you could elevate your language by saying, "The movie was absolutely brilliant." Let's practice that. Repeat after me. "The movie was absolutely brilliant." Fantastic. Or, if the movie was truly exceptional, you could say it was phenomenal. This word suggests something is so good it's almost extraordinary. Try that one. "The movie was phenomenal." Wonderful. Here's another one. Instead of saying, "She is very smart," you could say, "She is remarkably intelligent." Try that with me. "She is remarkably intelligent." Great. Notice how these stronger, more specific adjectives immediately lift the quality of your English to a higher standard. This isn't about trying to show off with big words. It's about expressing yourself with greater variety, accuracy, and impact. It's about giving your listener a more vivid and memorable experience. Now let's put this into practice with a short exercise. Imagine you are describing a beautiful place you visited on a recent trip. A basic sentence might be, "The place was very beautiful." It gets the message across, but it lacks power. It doesn't really capture the feeling of awe you might have experienced. At an advanced level, you might say something like, "The place was breathtakingly beautiful." That single word, breathtakingly, completely changes the sentence. It creates a powerful image of a view so stunning it literally took your breath away. Let's practice that one. Repeat after me very slowly. "The place was breathtakingly beautiful." Excellent. You can almost feel how that sentence now paints a much stronger, much more vivid picture in the listener's mind. That is the power of precise vocabulary. You could also describe a beautiful natural scene as picturesque, which means it looks like a perfect picture. For example, "The little village by the lake was absolutely picturesque." Let's repeat that. "The little village by the lake was absolutely picturesque." Fantastic. Fluency at this level also means being able to express your thoughts in multiple ways, adapting your language to the situation. For example, instead of only ever saying, "I don't know," which can sometimes sound a little abrupt or unhelpful, you could use more nuanced alternatives. You could say, "I'm not entirely sure," or perhaps, "I can't say with certainty." In a more formal setting, like at work or at university, you might say, "That's a good question, and I'll have to look into it." This response is professional, polite, and shows that you are taking the question seriously, even if you don't have the answer right away. These alternatives not only make you sound more advanced, but they also allow you to be more polite, thoughtful, and professional in different social and work situations. Let's do another practice round together. Repeat after me. "I'm not entirely sure." Again, "I can't say with certainty." And now the formal one. "That's a good question, and I'll have to look into it." Now, think of a real-life situation. Perhaps a colleague at work or a professor at university asks you a question that you can't answer immediately. Instead of just staying silent or saying a simple, "I don't know," these phrases will give you the confidence to respond naturally and gracefully. We also need to spend some time talking about connectors, because at an advanced level, connecting your ideas smoothly is a clear sign of true fluency. Words like "moreover," "nevertheless," "consequently," and on the other hand, are like bridges that allow your sentences to flow seamlessly from one idea to the next, just like a native speaker's. For example, listen to this. "I was tired. Nevertheless, I finished the project on time." The word "nevertheless" shows a contrast between being tired and finishing the work. It's a more formal and powerful way to say but. Here's another one. She studied hard. Consequently, she passed with excellent marks. The word consequently shows a direct result. It is a more advanced way of saying so. Now, let's practice these together. Repeat after me slowly. I was tired. Nevertheless, I finished the project on time. Good. And the next one, she studied hard. Consequently, she passed with excellent marks. These are exactly the kinds of sophisticated sentences that will help you excel in both speaking and writing when you are aiming for advanced fluency. As we continue, I want you to actively imagine real-life conversations where these words and phrases could naturally appear. Think about being in a job interview, or participating in a university discussion, or even just chatting with friends over coffee. Using advanced vocabulary naturally in these everyday moments is what will build your confidence and help you make the leap from an intermediate level to a truly advanced one. For practice, try creating a sentence about your weekend using an advanced connector. For example, I wanted to stay at home and relax. On the other hand, my friends convinced me to go out for dinner. Please repeat that sentence after me. Excellent. Now, take a moment. Create your own version in your mind and say it out loud. This is how you can practice advanced English daily, by taking simple everyday situations and elevating the language you use to describe them with richer vocabulary and smoother connectors. Remember, learning advanced English is not a race. It's not about rushing through lists of words. It's a gradual process of practicing slowly, repeating often, and allowing these new words and structures to become a comfortable, natural part of your everyday speech. That's why, in this masterclass, we will continue to go step by step, building your vocabulary, practicing pronunciation, and using examples from daily life that you can immediately apply in your own conversations. One of the key distinctions that truly separates advanced English speakers from learners at lower levels is their ability to choose the perfect word for the right situation. It's not just about the size of your vocabulary, it's about precision. For instance, instead of always saying, "he said something," an advanced learner possesses a richer palette of words. They might say, "he remarked," "he commented," or "he pointed out." Each of these choices subtly changes the nuance of the sentence. Remarked suggests a casual observation. Commented often implies giving an opinion. Pointed out means he was highlighting something specific, perhaps a detail or a mistake. This is exactly what gives your English that polished, sophisticated, and advanced feel. Let's practice this together to feel the difference. Imagine a colleague is talking about a recent meeting. Repeat after me slowly. He remarked that the meeting was too long. Now another one. He commented on the design of the presentation. And one more. He pointed out a mistake in the report. You see how each version feels slightly different? This is vocabulary in action. It is the art of selecting the most precise word to express the exact meaning you intend. Another essential area to master for advanced fluency is the use of idiomatic expressions. Native speakers use idioms so naturally that their conversations sound more colorful, more creative, and more alive. For example, instead of saying, "I'm very nervous," a common and very natural idiom is, "I have butterflies in my stomach." Instead of the simple phrase, "it was easy," you could say, "it was a piece of cake." And instead of telling someone to stop wasting time and say what you mean, you could use the idiom, "stop beating around the bush." Let's practice these wonderful expressions together. Repeat after me. I have butterflies in my stomach. It was a piece of cake. Stop beating around the bush. Excellent. These are expressions that you can start bringing into your daily conversations immediately. Imagine telling a friend before an important exam, I have butterflies in my stomach. That single phrase instantly makes your English feel more natural and advanced. Or if your friend is telling a long, confusing story, you can gently say, could you please stop beating around the bush and tell me what happened? Now let's turn our attention to advanced ways of agreeing and disagreeing. At lower levels, learners often rely on the simple phrases, I agree, or I don't agree. But at an advanced level, you can and should expand this range to express yourself with more nuance. For example, instead of a simple I agree, you can show strong agreement by saying, I couldn't agree more. Or, that's absolutely true. Or, I see your point and I share the same opinion. When disagreeing, instead of a blunt I don't agree, which can sometimes sound a little confrontational, you can be more polite and sophisticated by saying, I'm afraid I can't share that view, or that's not quite how I see it, or a very classic and polite phrase, I beg to differ. Let's try some of these together. Repeat after me. I couldn't agree more. That's absolutely true. I beg to differ. That's not quite how I see it. Great. Now imagine you are in a classroom discussion or a work meeting and you need to respond to a colleague's idea politely but firmly. These phrases give you the tools and the confidence to express yourself clearly without sounding overly direct or too simplistic. Your fluency also heavily depends on how you tell stories. At the advanced level, learners are expected to add detail, use descriptive language, and create interest when they recount events. Let's take a very simple sentence. I went to the park yesterday. At an advanced level, you might transform that simple statement into something much more engaging. You could say, yesterday I spent a quiet afternoon at the park, soaking in the fresh air and observing families enjoying the sunshine. Do you notice the profound difference? The first sentence just states a fact. The second sentence paints a picture. It gives the listener something to visualize and connect with emotionally. It uses more vivid verbs like soaking and observing. Let's practice that beautiful sentence together. Repeat after me slowly. Yesterday I spent a quiet afternoon at the park, soaking in the fresh air and observing families enjoying the sunshine. Excellent. Now, take a moment to think of a simple daily activity you did recently, like cooking dinner or going shopping. Try to expand your sentence with extra details, descriptive words, or even your emotions. That is how you grow from an intermediate to an advanced speaker, by making your language more vivid, more expressive, and more memorable. We should also work on our use of transitions, because advanced speakers use them constantly to guide their listener through their thoughts. For example, phrases like, to begin with, in addition, as a result, in contrast, and on the whole, help to structure your speech and make it sound smooth and logical. These small phrases are like signposts for your listener, telling them what kind of information is coming next. Let's repeat some of them together. To begin with, in addition, as a result, on the whole, very good. The next time you speak about your day or give your opinion on a topic, try to consciously include one or two of these transitions to connect your ideas more naturally. Here's a short practice exercise to help. Imagine you are describing your morning routine. A basic version might be, I woke up, I ate breakfast, I went to work. But an advanced version could sound like this. To begin with, I woke up early to prepare for the day. In addition, I had a healthy breakfast which gave me energy. As a result, I felt productive and ready to face the tasks at work. Please repeat this advanced version after me slowly and notice how the transitions guide the story smoothly from one point to the next. At an advanced level, your vocabulary should also help you express emotions and opinions with subtlety. Instead of just saying, I like it, you have a whole range of more sophisticated options. You might say, I find it fascinating, or I really appreciate it, or I'm genuinely impressed. These phrases convey more specific feelings than just a simple like. Similarly, instead of a flat, I don't like it, you could say, it doesn't really appeal to me, or I'm not particularly fond of it. These softer, more nuanced expressions are a clear mark of advanced communication skills, especially in American culture where indirectness is often valued. Let's practice them together. Repeat after me. I find it fascinating. I really appreciate it. It doesn't really appeal to me. I'm not particularly fond of it. Excellent. These phrases will help you sound more natural, more polite, and more advanced in all of your daily conversations. Remember, practice is absolutely everything. To truly internalize this rich vocabulary, you need to actively use it. So here's a challenge for you today. The next time you speak to someone in English, try to replace one simple word or phrase with a more advanced alternative from this lesson. Maybe instead of saying, very good, you say, outstanding. Instead of saying, I don't know, you say, I can't say with certainty. Each time you do this, you are actively building your advanced English skills, brick by brick. Another important aspect of advanced English is the way you manage emphasis. At the B1 or B2 level, you don't always need to rely on words like very or really to strengthen your ideas. Instead, you can use more precise and powerful words that have the emphasis built into them. For example, instead of saying, very hungry, you could say you are starving. This word is much more dramatic and descriptive. Instead of really cold, you might say it's freezing. And instead of very big, you could say a building was enormous or even gigantic. These are often called extreme adjectives. Let's practice these powerful words together. Repeat after me, I'm starving. It's freezing outside. The house was enormous. Perfect. Now think of a simple sentence you often use, like, I'm very happy. At an advanced level, you could express this same feeling with much more color. You could say, I'm delighted, which is a feeling of great pleasure. You could say, I'm overjoyed, which is even stronger, suggesting intense happiness. Or you could say, I'm thrilled, which expresses great excitement and happiness. Let's practice those. I'm delighted. I'm overjoyed. I'm thrilled. These wonderful alternatives not only sound more natural, but they also allow you to express different shades and intensities of feeling. Here's a small exercise for you. Imagine you're describing your weekend to a friend. Instead of saying, the concert was very good, try saying, the concert was phenomenal. Instead of saying, the restaurant was very bad, try, the restaurant was dreadful. A dreadful experience is one that is extremely bad or unpleasant. By practicing like this, you will train your brain to automatically reach for stronger, more descriptive vocabulary, instead of relying on simple, overused words. Another crucial step toward advanced fluency is mastering collocations, which are words that naturally and frequently go together in English. For example, we always say, make a decision, not do a decision. We say strong coffee, not powerful coffee. And we talk about heavy rain, not big rain. These natural word partnerships are what make your English sound authentic and fluent. Let's practice some common and very useful collocations together. Repeat after me. Make progress. Catch a bus. Break the news. Keep a promise. Pay attention. Run a business. Excellent. Notice how natural and correct they feel when said together. At an advanced level, learning collocations is often even more important than memorizing individual words, because collocations show you how vocabulary actually works in real, everyday speech. Let's build a quick practice story using some of these collocations. Listen first and then repeat after me slowly, sentence by sentence. Yesterday, I made a decision to run a small business online. It's a big step, but I want to make progress in my career. In the morning, I had to catch a bus into town to buy some necessary supplies. On the way, my friend called me to break the news that she was moving to another state. It was sad, but I kept my promise to stay in touch with her. During our call, I tried to pay attention to her every word, even though the bus was noisy. By the end of the day, I felt that I had made real progress on my new business plan. Excellent work. That's a natural-sounding story filled with collocations that you can use in your own conversations. At the advanced level, you also need to master what is called hedging language. This means using words and phrases to soften your statements, which makes you sound more polite, more professional, or more cautious. Instead of making a very direct and possibly confrontational statement like, "This is wrong," you might say, "I'm not sure that's entirely correct," or "It seems there might be a small mistake here." Instead of a blunt, "You are late," you could soften it by saying, "It seems you've arrived a bit later than expected." This type of language is extremely common in academic, business, and even friendly discussions in the United States because it sounds respectful and balanced. Let's practice some useful hedging phrases together. Repeat after me. I'm not entirely sure. It seems that it appears to be, from my perspective, as far as I can tell. These phrases will help you express opinions and make observations without sounding too direct or too blunt. This is an especially useful skill in professional or international settings, where politeness can make a huge difference in building positive relationships. Another powerful tool for advanced speakers is mastering modal verbs for speculation and deduction. These are words like must, might, may, could, and can't. They allow you to express how certain you are about something. For example, if you say, "He must be tired," it means you are almost certain, perhaps because you saw him working all day. If you say, "He might be tired," it means it's a possibility, but you are not sure. And if you say, "He can't be tired," it means you believe it's impossible, perhaps because he just woke up from a long nap. These small changes in the modal verb make your English far more flexible and nuanced. Let's practice this with some daily life contexts. Repeat after me. She must be at work. The lights are on in her office. He might be busy. He hasn't answered his phone. That can't be true. I saw it with my own eyes. Perfect. By practicing modals in this way, you train yourself to express different levels of certainty, possibility, and impossibility, a key skill for advanced English. Now, let's expand our toolkit with discourse markers. These are the small words and phrases we use to organize our ideas and sound natural in conversation. They often appear at the beginning of a sentence and signal our attitude or connect to what was just said. For example, frankly speaking, between you and me, if I'm honest, to be fair. And in my opinion, these phrases make your English sound smooth and connected, just like a native-level conversation. Let's try some together. Repeat after me. Frankly speaking, I don't think that's the best idea. Between you and me, I was a little nervous before the meeting. To be fair, the movie wasn't as bad as people said. Excellent. These little touches add personality and flow to your speech, and they are a strong signal of advanced fluency. For example, between you and me signals that you are about to share a small secret or a personal opinion. To be fair, signals that you are about to present a balanced view or defend something. Finally, in this section, let's bring everything together with a longer practice exercise. Imagine you're talking about a challenge you faced recently and you want to sound advanced and confident. Repeat after me slowly, sentence by sentence. Frankly speaking, last week was exhausting. I was absolutely overwhelmed with work. Nevertheless, I managed to make progress and complete my tasks on time. It seems that my colleagues appreciated my efforts, and I couldn't agree more that teamwork made the difference. On the whole, it was a challenging week, but I feel delighted with what we achieved. Wonderful. Do you notice how that short story combined strong vocabulary like exhausting and overwhelmed, connectors like nevertheless and on the whole, collocations like make progress and hedging language like it seems that? That is exactly how you build your way to true C1 fluency. At the B1 or B2 level, one of the most valuable skills you can develop is the ability to rephrase. Rephrasing means saying the same idea in different ways, depending on the context. This is incredibly powerful because it demonstrates flexibility and a deep understanding of the language. It shows you haven't just memorized one way to say something. You understand the concept so well you can express it in multiple ways. For example, if someone asks you, "Do you understand?" At a basic level, you might simply reply, "Yes, I understand." But at an advanced level, you have a variety of more natural and sophisticated options. You could say, "Yes, I follow your point." Or, in a more casual setting, "Yes, I get what you mean." A very common and friendly one is, "Got it." Or, if something was explained very clearly, you could say, "Yes, that makes perfect sense to me." Each option expresses understanding, but each has a slightly different tone, formal, casual, or neutral. This skill makes your English sound alive, dynamic, and adaptable. Let's practice these together. Repeat after me slowly. I follow your point. I get what you mean. That makes perfect sense to me. Good. Now, imagine a friend is explaining how to use a new app on your phone. Instead of just saying, "I understand," over and over, try using one of these alternatives. This kind of flexibility is what makes you sound like a truly advanced speaker. Another dimension of advanced fluency is sophistication in expressing opinions. At lower levels, learners often say, "I think," again and again. While there's nothing wrong with "I think," overusing it can make your speech sound repetitive and a little basic. At the B1 or B2 level, you can expand this with a wide range of phrases, such as, "in my view," "from my perspective." As far as I'm concerned, if you ask me, and "the way I see it." These alternatives not only make your English richer, but they also help you avoid repetition, which is a hallmark of advanced communication. Let's practice these together. Repeat after me. In my view, this approach is more effective. From my perspective, we should try something different. As far as I'm concerned, learning English daily is the best strategy. If you ask me, the book was better than the movie. The way I see it, practice leads to progress. Excellent. You now have 5 new ways to express your opinion without always falling back on the simple, I think. Using these phrases will make you sound more thoughtful and articulate in discussions and debates. We also need to focus on advanced time expressions because these often challenge learners but are extremely common in native speech. Instead of only using simple words like yesterday or last week, you can use more nuanced phrases such as the other day, which means a few days, ago but you don't remember the exact day, in the meantime, meaning in the time between 2 events, at the end of the day, which is an idiom, meaning ultimately, or in the final analysis, or in the long run, meaning over a long period of time. These expressions are extremely common among native speakers and give your speech a more authentic rhythm. Let's practice them. Repeat after me. I met her the other day at the coffee shop. I'm waiting for the report to be finished. In the meantime, I'll keep working on this project. We can argue about the details, but at the end of the day, we all want to be happy. This new strategy is difficult, but in the long run, consistent practice always pays off. Perfect. Try to use one of these expressions the next time you tell a story about your daily life. It will make your storytelling sound much more natural. At the advanced level, your fluency also depends on mastering the subtle difference between formal and informal registers. A register is simply the style of language you use in a particular situation. In a casual conversation with a friend, you might say, "Can you help me out?" However, in a professional meeting with your manager, you would likely say something more formal, like, "Would you be able to assist me with this?" Both questions mean the same thing, but the second one is more formal and polite. Being able to effortlessly shift between these registers shows an advanced control of the English language. Let's practice this skill together. First, the informal phrase. Repeat after me. Can you help me out? Now, the formal one. Repeat after me. Would you be able to assist me with this? Or, great, here's another example. To a friend, you might say, I want to go to the movies. To a colleague, you might say, I would like to go to the movies. Notice the change from the casual wanna to the more formal would like to. Now imagine 2 different scenarios in your mind. One where you are asking a close friend for a favor, and another where you are asking your boss for help. Which phrase would you use in each case? This awareness of context is precisely what makes your English sound sophisticated and appropriate for any situation. Another crucial area at the B1 or B2 level is building your range with phrasal verbs and their more formal single-word equivalents. Phrasal verbs are verbs combined with a preposition or adverb, like put off or come up with. They are extremely common in spoken, informal English. However, in more formal situations, like academic writing or a business presentation, a single word equivalent is often preferred. For example, instead of the phrasal verb put off, you might use the more formal verb postpone. Instead of come up with, you could use devise. Instead of give up, you could use surrender or abandon. And instead of find out, you might say discover or ascertain. A C1 learner can move comfortably and easily between both. Let's try it now. Repeat after me. We had to put off the meeting. Now the formal version, we had to postpone the meeting. She came up with a new idea. She devised a new idea. He gave up the fight. He surrendered the fight. Did you find out the answer? Did you discover the answer? Wonderful. Notice how each version feels slightly different depending on the context, but both are perfectly correct. That's the flexibility you are aiming for. At this stage, it's also important to practice storytelling with advanced connectors. Imagine you're describing a trip you took. At a basic level, you might say, I went to Paris. I saw the Eiffel Tower. I took photos. I ate food. It's a series of simple, disconnected sentences that sounds very robotic. At the B1 or B2 level, you would weave these ideas together into a beautiful narrative. You might say, last summer I had the opportunity to visit Paris, and needless to say, it was unforgettable. Not only did I see the Eiffel Tower, but I also explored hidden streets and charming cafes. Moreover, I captured dozens of photographs to keep as memories. And to top it all off, the food was absolutely exquisite. Do you hear the dramatic difference? The second version flows beautifully. It uses advanced structures like not only, but also, connectors like moreover, and powerful vocabulary like unforgettable and exquisite. It engages the listener and it paints a vivid picture. Let's practice that advanced story together, slowly. Repeat after me. Last summer, I had the opportunity to visit Paris, and needless to say, it was unforgettable. Not only did I see the Eiffel Tower, but I also explored hidden streets and charming cafes. Moreover, I captured dozens of photographs to keep as memories. And to top it all off, the food was absolutely exquisite. Excellent. That is storytelling at a truly advanced level. Now let's shift to another key element of B1 or B2 level, expressing cause and effect with more sophistication. Instead of always using the word because, you can enrich your vocabulary with phrases like due to, owing to, as a result of, or thanks to. These are often followed by a noun phrase, and instead of only saying so, you can use more formal and sophisticated words like therefore, thus, consequently, or hence. These connectors not only expand your vocabulary, they also make your sentences sound more academic, professional, and polished. Let's practice with me. Repeat after me. Due to the heavy rain, the match was canceled. Owing to his dedication, he succeeded in his exams. As a result of the delay, the meeting was postponed. Thanks to her support, I felt more confident. Now let's try the alternatives for so. The team worked hard. Therefore, they achieved success. The evidence was clear. Thus, the case was closed. She didn't study. Consequently, she failed. He was the eldest son. Hence, he took responsibility. Very good. These connectors will be especially useful for you in academic essays, formal debates, and professional writing, helping you to build logical and persuasive arguments. Finally, let's put everything we've practiced in this section into a longer, advanced practice paragraph that you can shadow. This is a great way to see how all these elements work together to create a fluent and sophisticated piece of speech. Repeat after me slowly. In the long run, learning English every day will bring you closer to fluency. Owing to consistent practice, your confidence will steadily grow. Moreover, as a result of applying advanced vocabulary, you will begin to sound more natural and precise. At the end of the day, language is about connection. And needless to say, the more variety you have in your speech, the more deeply you can connect with people. Therefore, never stop challenging yourself, because every new word you learn builds another step toward mastery. Excellent, that is advanced fluency in action. All right, now that we've built a strong foundation with precise vocabulary, natural collocations, and effective connectors, let's take our skills even further. In this next part of our master class, we are going to explore some of the more complex sentence structures that truly mark the speech of a B1 or B2 level speaker. Mastering these structures will allow you to express your ideas with greater emphasis, sophistication, and variety. This might seem challenging at first, but we will go through it step by step with plenty of practice until it feels completely natural for you. Let's begin with a powerful technique called inversion. Inversion simply means changing the usual word order of a sentence to create emphasis. It's often used in formal writing and in powerful emotive speech. For example, the normal sentence order is, "I have never seen such a beautiful sunset." It's a perfectly good sentence, but if you want to add more drama and a more literary feel, you can use inversion. The inverted sentence would be, "Never have I seen such a beautiful sunset." Can you feel that little bit of extra power and emotion? It immediately makes the sentence sound more advanced. Let's practice that. First, the normal sentence. Repeat after me. "I have never seen such a beautiful sunset." Now, the inverted, advanced version. "Never have I seen such a beautiful sunset." Excellent. Inversion is commonly used with negative or limiting adverbs like never, rarely, seldom, and phrases like not only and no sooner. Let's look at another example with rarely. A simple sentence would be, "I rarely go to the theater." To make it more emphatic, you can say, "Rarely do I go to the theater." Let's practice that one. Repeat after me. "Rarely do I go to the theater." Fantastic. Notice how we have to add the auxiliary verb do after rarely. This is a common pattern in inversion. Here's another one with the phrase not only. A standard sentence is, "He is not only a great musician, but he is also a talented writer." Using inversion, we can make the first part much stronger. Not only is he a great musician, but he is also a talented writer. Let's shadow that together. Not only is he a great musician, but he is also a talented writer. Wonderful. This structure is incredibly useful when you want to connect two related positive qualities about someone or something. Now let's move on to another crucial area of advanced grammar, conditional sentences. You are likely familiar with the basic conditionals, but at the B1 or B2 level, we need to master mixed conditionals. Mixed conditionals are used to connect the past with the present. They are perfect for talking about regrets or hypothetical situations where a past action has a present result. For example, imagine you didn't study for an exam and now you have a bad grade. You could say, "If I had studied harder, I would have a better grade now." Notice the structure. The if clause is in the past perfect, "if I had studied," and the result clause is in the present conditional, "I would have." This mixes the past and the present. Let's practice this sentence together slowly. Repeat after me. "If I had studied harder, I would have a better grade now." Great. This is a perfect way to express regret about a past decision. Here is another mixed conditional scenario. Imagine you didn't take a job offer in another city a few years ago. Now, you are still living in your hometown. You might think to yourself, if I had taken that job, I would be living in New York right now. This connects a past decision, not taking the job, with a present reality, not living in New York. Let's practice that one. If I had taken that job, I would be living in New York right now. Excellent. Mixed conditionals show a very sophisticated control of English grammar and allow you to express complex ideas about your life and choices. Furthermore, advanced speakers often use alternatives to the word if to make their conditional sentences sound more formal or specific. For instance, you can use provided that or on the condition that to mean only if. These phrases add a condition that must be met. For example, you can borrow my car, provided that you drive carefully. This is more formal than just saying, if you drive carefully. Let's try that. You can borrow my car, provided that you drive carefully. Another very formal and elegant way to form a conditional sentence, especially a hypothetical one, is to omit if and start with were. For example, instead of saying, if I were you, I would accept the offer, you can say, were I you, I would accept the offer. It sounds very sophisticated. Let's practice that one. Were I you, I would accept the offer. Here's another one. Instead of, if I were to win the lottery, you can say, were I to win the lottery. It's a beautiful and advanced structure. Now let's talk about a structure that is incredibly common in natural, everyday speech for creating focus, the cleft sentence. Cleft sentences split a single sentence into two parts to emphasize a specific piece of information. The most common patterns are it is, or it was, and what. For example, take the simple sentence, my brother broke the window. If you want to emphasize who broke the window, you can say, it was my brother who broke the window. If you want to emphasize what he broke, you can say, it was the window that my brother broke. This technique is a fantastic way to make your speech more dynamic and focused. Let's practice. Imagine someone asks, did you break the window? You can reply emphatically, it was my brother who broke the window. Good. Let's try the what structure now. A simple sentence, I need a cup of coffee. To emphasize your need for coffee, you can say, what I need is a cup of coffee. It puts the focus directly on the coffee. Let's repeat that. What I need is a cup of coffee. Here's another example. Your friend is telling you about a wonderful vacation and you want to know the best part. You could ask, what was the most memorable part? Or you could use a what cleft sentence to focus your question. What I want to know is, what was the most memorable part? This structure is perfect for guiding a conversation and highlighting the information you are most interested in. Let's practice it. Repeat after me. What I want to know is, what was the most memorable part? Fantastic. By practicing inversion, mixed conditionals, and cleft sentences, you are adding some of the most powerful grammatical tools to your English toolkit. Now that we've explored some advanced sentence structures, let's focus on how to use our language to be more persuasive and influential. Whether you're in a business meeting, a university debate, or just trying to convince a friend to see a movie you like, the ability to persuade is a vital communication skill. One of the simplest yet most effective tools of persuasion is the rhetorical question. A rhetorical question is a question you ask without expecting an answer. Its purpose is to make a point, to make your listener think, or to emphasize an idea that you believe is obvious. For example, if you are arguing that everyone deserves a vacation, you might say, "After all, don't we all need a break from time to time?" You aren't actually asking for information. You are stating a point in the form of a question to get your audience to agree with you. Let's practice that one. Repeat after me. After all, don't we all need a break from time to time? Excellent. Here is another situation. Imagine a colleague proposes an idea that has failed many times before. Instead of saying, "That idea always fails," you could use a rhetorical question to be more persuasive and a little less direct. You could say, "How many times have we tried that approach in the past?" This gently leads your listener to the conclusion that the idea is not a good one, without you having to state it so bluntly. Let's try it. How many times have we tried that approach in the past? Very good. Rhetorical questions make your listener an active participant in your argument, which is a key part of effective persuasion. Beyond structure, your word choice is critical for persuasion. Certain words carry more weight and can help to convince your listener. For example, instead of saying, "I think this will help," you could use a more powerful verb like, "I guarantee this will help." The word guarantee sounds much more confident and reassuring. Other persuasive words include discover, which makes something sound new and exciting, or proven, which suggests that something is supported by facts. Think about advertisements you see. They often use words like transformative, essential, or revolutionary. Let's practice a persuasive sentence. Imagine you are recommending a book. Instead of saying, "It's a good book," you could say, "Reading this book will completely transform your perspective on life." Let's practice that powerful sentence. Reading this book will completely transform your perspective on life. It's much more compelling, isn't it? Now let's combine these ideas into a simple structure for making a persuasive argument. First, you state your position clearly. Second, you provide your most important reason or a piece of evidence. Third, you can strengthen your argument by acknowledging the opposing viewpoint and then refuting it. Finally, you reaffirm your position. Let's try this with a simple topic, like the importance of daily exercise. Repeat after me as we build the argument step by step. First, state your position. I strongly believe that daily exercise is essential for a healthy lifestyle. Good. Now, provide the reason. Not only does it improve physical health, but it also has a proven effect on mental well-being. Excellent. Now, acknowledge the other side. While some may argue that it's difficult to find the time, and now refute it and reaffirm your position. The long-term benefits for your energy and focus far outweigh the small daily commitment. Wonderful. By structuring your thoughts in this way, you can make a clear, balanced, and highly persuasive argument on almost any topic. Let's move on to applying our advanced vocabulary in specific contexts. The language you use in a casual conversation with friends is often very different from the language you need in a professional or academic setting. Being able to adapt your vocabulary is a true sign of fluency. Let's start with some common vocabulary for the world of business. In meetings, you will often hear phrases like action items and deliverables. Action items are the specific tasks that someone needs to complete after the meeting. Deliverables are the final products or results that are expected from a project. You might also hear the word bandwidth, which in a business context refers to a person's capacity to take on more work. For example, your manager might ask, "Do you have the bandwidth to help with this new project?" Let's practice a typical business sentence. Repeat after me. Okay, team. The main deliverable for this quarter is the marketing report, and the key action item is for Sarah to gather the data. John, do you have the bandwidth to assist her? This sentence is packed with business jargon, but it's very common in a corporate environment in the USA. When it comes to negotiations, certain words are key. For instance, leverage refers to the power or advantage you have in a negotiation. A compromise is an agreement where both sides give up something they want in order to reach a deal. A counteroffer is the new offer you make in response to the other party's initial offer. The goal is always to find a mutually beneficial agreement, one that is good for both sides. Let's shadow a mini dialogue from a negotiation. Person A says, "Our initial offer is $10,000. Now person B responds with a counteroffer. "Thank you for the offer. However, we were hoping for something closer to $15,000. Is there room for a compromise?" Person A then says, "Let's see if we can find a mutually beneficial solution." Practicing these phrases will help you feel much more confident in any professional negotiation. Now let's shift to the academic world. Academic English has its own distinct vocabulary. When discussing ideas, you might use the verb to postulate, which means to suggest a theory or idea. You might critique an argument, which means to analyze and evaluate it. A hypothesis is a proposed explanation that can be tested. If something is ambiguous, it means its meaning is unclear or it can be interpreted in more than one way. And if an argument is coherent, it means it is logical and consistent. Let's practice a sentence you might hear in a university seminar. Repeat after me. The author postulates a new hypothesis, but I find her evidence to be somewhat ambiguous, and the overall argument is not entirely coherent. This is a very advanced and critical way of discussing an academic text. Finally, let's explore some advanced vocabulary for social and emotional contexts. Being able to describe people's personalities and your own feelings with precision is a wonderful skill. Instead of just saying someone is friendly and outgoing, you could use the word gregarious. The opposite, someone who is quiet and prefers to be alone, is introverted. A person who is careful, responsible, and hardworking is conscientious, and someone who pays extremely close attention to every detail is meticulous. Let's try describing a friend. Repeat after me. My friend Anna is very conscientious and meticulous in her work, but when she's with friends, she's incredibly gregarious and fun. You see how those words paint a much more detailed picture? We also have a rich vocabulary for describing complex emotions. For example, if you feel two different ways about something at the same time, you are ambivalent. For example, I feel ambivalent about moving to a new city. I'm excited for the opportunity, but sad to leave my friends. If you have a sentimental longing for the past, you are feeling nostalgic. If you are feeling worried or nervous about something in the future, you are apprehensive. And if you are feeling extremely happy and excited, you are elated. Let's practice expressing one of these emotions. Repeat after me. I'm a little apprehensive about the presentation tomorrow, but I know I'll feel elated once it's over. By using these precise words, you can share your inner world with others in a much more meaningful and advanced way. As we bring this extensive masterclass to a close, I want you to take a moment and reflect on the journey we have taken together. We started with the foundation of all language, choosing precise and powerful words to replace simple ones. We moved on to connecting our ideas smoothly with advanced connectors and discourse markers. We've practiced adding color and life to our speech with idioms and collocations, and we've explored the sophisticated sentence structures that allow you to express complex ideas with emphasis and clarity. We've even touched on the specific language needed to persuade others and to communicate effectively in professional, academic, and social settings. This had been a deep, immersive practice, and I am so proud of you for dedicating this time to your fluency. Learning a language to an advanced level is not a destination you arrive at one day. It is a continuous journey of discovery, practice, and growth. The key is to stay curious and to actively use what you learn. Don't be afraid to try out a new word, a new idiom, or a new sentence structure. It might feel a little unnatural at first, but with repetition, it will become a comfortable and powerful part of your own unique voice in English. The goal is not to sound like someone else. It is to sound like yourself, but with a richer, more flexible, and more confident command of the language. Every conversation, every email, every movie you watch is an opportunity to learn and to practice. Embrace those opportunities. Thank you so much for staying with me through this deep and detailed masterclass. I truly hope you practiced along with me, repeated the examples, and really felt your English stretching and growing into new areas of fluency. If you enjoyed this lesson and found it valuable, and if you want more lessons like this one, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, English in Advance, and don't forget to tap the bell icon. That way, you'll be the first to know when we release new videos that will help you grow your English step by step. Your support means the world to me and our community, and together we will keep building your skills and your confidence until speaking advanced English feels completely natural and effortless for you. So keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and always remember, every single word you learn brings you one step closer to achieving your goals. Take care, stay motivated, and I will see you in our next lesson.